Imagine this, you're sitting at a cozy seafood restaurant by the coast in Florida, looking at a menu filled with tempting dishes. Your friend John, a retired firefighter from Texas who's been living with type 2 diabetes for over 15 years, leans over and says, I always thought fish was the healthiest choice on the menu, but recently, I learned that some fish can actually make my blood sugar harder to control. That's a surprising statement, isn't it? Most of us grew up believing that eating fish is always a good idea. Low in calories, high in protein, and packed with heart-friendly nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids. But here's the shocking truth. Not every fish is safe, especially for those managing diabetes. In fact, some popular fish, the ones you might see on your dinner plate or at your favorite seafood shack, could quietly be doing more harm than good. Diabetes is all about balance, keeping blood sugar stable, avoiding inflammation, and protecting the heart and kidneys. For many of my patients over 50, I often say what you eat either helps your body fight back or makes the fight harder. And while fish generally gets a green light, certain types are loaded with hidden dangers, mercury, harmful fats, or even chemicals from farming practices that can complicate blood sugar control or increase the risk of heart disease. Take swordfish, for example. It looks elegant, tastes incredible, and feels like something you'd order at a fancy dinner in New York City. But behind that mild, white meat lies a high level of mercury, a toxic heavy metal that can damage the nervous system and kidneys. For someone like John, who already has to monitor his kidney function due to diabetes, a single serving of swordfish could have long-term consequences he never even considered. Then there's mackerel, the fish you might find smoked on a bagel in a trendy Chicago cafe. Yes, it's packed with omega-3s, which are fantastic for heart health. But here's the catch. Some varieties of mackerel also come with high mercury levels and heavy oils that add unnecessary fats to your diet. For diabetics, too much fat, especially the wrong kinds, can lead to insulin resistance and weight gain, both of which make blood sugar control even tougher. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I've been eating canned tuna for years. Isn't that safe? Well, not always. Many canned tuna products are packed in oil, adding extra unhealthy fats. Worse, some brands sneak in high sodium content that can push blood pressure through the roof. A serious concern for diabetics who already have a higher risk of heart problems. John told me once, I never realized my healthy tuna salad lunch was actually spiking my blood pressure. Even the mild, everyday tilapia, one of the cheapest and most popular fish in American grocery stores, comes with risks. While tilapia is low in calories and easy to cook, it's often farmed in crowded conditions and fed poor quality diets, leading to an imbalance of omega-6 fatty acids. High omega-6 levels promote inflammation, and for diabetics, inflammation is like pouring gasoline on the fire. It worsens insulin resistance, raises the risk of heart complications, and makes it harder for the body to stay in balance. And let's not forget how cooking methods can ruin a perfectly healthy piece of fish. Take cod, for example. Cod itself is lean, high in protein, and loved in many healthy Mediterranean diets. But the moment you fry it like that golden, crispy fish and chips plate in Boston, you turn it into a blood sugar disaster. Frying adds trans fats, extra calories, and often breading made of refined carbs that cause glucose spikes. These examples aren't meant to scare you away from eating fish altogether. In fact, seafood is still one of the best sources of lean protein and heart-healthy fats, if you choose wisely. The problem is that many people don't know which fish are the safest, or how certain types can quietly work against them. And when you're living with diabetes, every food choice matters. One wrong meal might not show up immediately, but over time, it can push your health in the wrong direction. As someone who's spent decades guiding older adults through healthier lifestyles, I've seen firsthand how small changes make a huge difference. I remember Susan, a 62-year-old grandmother from Ohio, who told me she felt hopeless about controlling her diabetes. I thought I was eating healthy, she said, but I never knew the fish I loved was working against me. After learning which fish to avoid and replacing them with better options like salmon or trout, Susan not only improved her blood sugar but also felt more energetic than she had in years. The truth is, diabetes isn't just about avoiding sweets or counting carbs. It's about understanding how all foods, yes, even so-called healthy foods, affect your body. That's why I'm creating this guide. To help you, just like I helped John and Susan, make smarter seafood choices that support your health instead of sabotaging it. In this video, we'll uncover 5 dangerous fish that diabetics should avoid, and I'll explain why each one poses a risk. From mercury levels to hidden fats and harmful additives, I'll walk you through the science in simple terms so you can feel confident about what's on your plate. I'll also share healthier, safer fish alternatives that still taste amazing but won't mess with your blood sugar or heart health. I want you to imagine this journey as if we're sitting around the kitchen table, sipping tea, and having an honest conversation about food and health. I'm not here to scare you or take away the joy of eating. My goal is to empower you with knowledge that can help you enjoy delicious meals while protecting your body, especially as we age. Because when you're over 50, your health becomes your greatest treasure, and every choice counts. So, if you've ever wondered, can I eat fish with diabetes? Which fish are safe for me? You're in the right place. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which fish to avoid and what to choose instead. You'll discover simple, actionable tips to keep your blood sugar stable, your heart strong, and your body full of energy. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoy learning about healthy living, and subscribe to our channel for more tips on managing diabetes and staying strong after 50. And if you know someone, maybe a friend, sibling, or parent, who's living with diabetes, share this video with them. Could make a life-changing difference. Alright, let's dive in. Here are the 5 dangerous fish you should never eat if you have diabetes, and the better choices you can make starting today. When we think of fish, most of us imagine something light, healthy, and good for the heart. Doctors have recommended eating fish for decades because it's full of protein, vitamins, and omega-3 fatty acids that help reduce inflammation and support brain health. But what if I told you that some fish, the very ones sitting on your dinner table, could actually hurt your body, especially if you have diabetes? Let me share a story about my friend John, the retired firefighter from Texas I mentioned earlier. For years, John believed he was doing all the right things. He'd avoid sugary drinks, watch his carbs, and eat fish several times a week, thinking it was the best choice for his heart and blood sugar. But when his blood tests came back with unexpected spikes in cholesterol and higher kidney markers, his doctor asked a simple question. "John, what kind of fish are you eating?" That's when he realized that not all fish are created equal. The truth is, some fish can hide problems that are particularly tough for diabetics. For example, certain types are high in mercury, a toxic heavy metal that can harm your nervous system and kidneys. When you're living with diabetes, your kidneys already work harder than normal. Adding mercury into the mix is like throwing extra weight on an already strained bridge. It can break down much faster. Then there's the issue of unhealthy fats. While some fish offer healthy omega-3 fats, others are loaded with saturated fats that can worsen insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is like your body's door to sugar. When the door gets jammed, sugar stays in your blood instead of being absorbed for energy. Eating too many of these bad fat fish is like adding more rust to that door, making it harder for your body to function smoothly. Another hidden danger comes from how fish are raised. Many fish, like tilapia, are farmed in crowded tanks where they're fed poor quality diets and treated with antibiotics to prevent disease. The result? Fish that are not as nutritious as wild-caught varieties and often carry chemical residues. These chemicals can cause inflammation, which is like adding fuel to the fire for people with diabetes. Inflammation makes blood sugar harder to control and increases the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and nerve damage. So, why am I telling you this? Because understanding which fish to avoid can make a world of difference. Think about Susan from Ohio, a grandmother who loves cooking for her grandkids. She used to serve tilapia 3 times a week, thinking it was a healthy, budget-friendly choice. But when she switched to safer fish like wild-caught salmon and trout, her energy levels improved and her blood sugar readings became more stable. This video will guide you through 5 types of fish that pose risks for diabetics, but I'll also share better, safer options so you don't have to give up seafood altogether. The key here is not fear, it's knowledge. By the end, you'll know exactly what to look for at the grocery store or restaurant menu. Before we dive into the specific fish, here's one thing I want you to remember. Preparation matters just as much as the type of fish. A perfectly healthy fish can turn harmful if it's fried in trans fats or coated with refined flour. We'll get into that later when we talk about fried cod. But for now, think of fish as a tool. If you use the right tool the wrong way, you don't get the job done. And in this case, the job is keeping your body healthy and strong. In the next section, we'll talk about swordfish, a popular choice in upscale restaurants that hides a dangerous secret. You'll learn why this elegant dish is not as safe as it looks, and what you can order instead without giving up flavor or style. Imagine this. You're at a beautiful seaside restaurant in California, celebrating your wedding anniversary. The waiter recommends the grilled swordfish, describing its firm, meaty texture and delicate flavor. You picture that perfectly cooked white fillet, drizzled with a squeeze of lemon and maybe a touch of butter. It sounds like the perfect healthy choice, right? But here's the truth most people don't realize, especially those managing diabetes. Swordfish can carry one of the highest levels of mercury of any commonly eaten fish. Mercury is a toxic heavy metal that doesn't just disappear when you cook it. Instead, it accumulates in your body over time. For someone living with diabetes whose kidneys are already under stress, this can be a serious problem. Your kidneys work like natural filters, cleaning out waste from your blood. Adding mercury is like pouring sand into that filter. It clogs things up and can cause long-term damage. I once had a patient named Laura, a 58-year-old from Florida. She loved swordfish steaks, especially during summer barbecues. But she started feeling unusual fatigue, tingling in her hands, and foggy thinking. After some tests, her doctor found elevated mercury levels in her blood. Cutting out swordfish and replacing it with safer, low-mercury fish made a huge difference in just a few months. Mercury isn't the only problem with swordfish. It also has a higher fat content compared to many other white fish, and while a little healthy fat is good, this particular type of fat can be tricky for diabetics. When you eat a meal that's too rich in saturated fat, your body becomes less responsive to insulin. Think of insulin as the key that opens the doors of your cells to let sugar in. Too much saturated fat is like gumming up the lock, making it harder for the key to work. That means your blood sugar can spike unexpectedly after a meal, even if you didn't eat something sugary. Now, I'm not saying swordfish has no nutritional value. It does provide protein and some healthy omega-3 fatty acids. But the risks, mercury poisoning, nervous system damage, kidney stress, and possible blood sugar spikes, far outweigh the benefits for people with diabetes. For anyone over 50, these risks can compound over time, leading to bigger problems like memory issues, neuropathy, nerve damage, or even heart complications. What should you eat instead? If you love the rich, satisfying taste of swordfish, try wild-caught salmon or steelhead trout. Both are excellent sources of omega-3s, have much lower mercury levels, and can be prepared just as elegantly. Grilling a fillet of salmon with herbs and a squeeze of lemon can give you that same special meal feeling without putting your health in jeopardy. How often is too often? Even health organizations like the FDA advise limiting swordfish to a rare treat, and for people with diabetes, I'd go a step further and say it's best to avoid it altogether. Why take the risk when safer? Tastier options are right there in the seafood aisle. Another practical tip: always check the source of your seafood. Imported fish, especially from poorly regulated waters, tends to have higher contamination risks. Opt for US-sourced or responsibly farmed fish with certifications like MSC or Best Aquaculture Practices. These seals mean the fish has been raised or caught in cleaner, safer environments. One last story to drive this home. A friend of mine, Paul, from New Jersey, used to order swordfish every Friday night at his favorite Italian restaurant. He told me it was my guilty pleasure. I thought I was treating myself. But after learning about mercury risks, he switched to grilled halibut. Not only did his blood sugar readings improve, but he also lost 8 pounds in 2 months simply because he was eating lighter, cleaner seafood. If you take one thing from this section, let it be this: swordfish might look like the sophisticated choice on the menu, but for diabetics, it's a hidden trap. Don't let a fancy name or presentation trick you into risking your long-term health. In the next section, we'll talk about another fish that's often praised for its omega-3 benefits but carries its own set of risks: mackerel. You might be surprised to learn how this oily fish can become a problem for blood sugar and overall health if not chosen carefully. When most people hear the word mercury, they think of old thermometers or maybe science class experiments. But what many don't realize is that mercury isn't just a relic of the past. It's something that can quietly find its way onto your dinner plate, especially when you eat certain types of fish. For those of us managing diabetes, this hidden threat can be even more dangerous. Why? Because mercury isn't just a simple contaminant you can wash off or cook away. It's a heavy metal that accumulates in your body over time, and once it's in your system, it's tough to get rid of. Think of it like rust slowly building on a car. At first, you don't see much, but over time, it weakens the entire structure. Why mercury hits diabetics harder. For someone living with diabetes, mercury exposure can lead to multiple complications. Let's start with the nervous system. Mercury attacks nerve cells, which can cause tingling sensations, memory issues, and even muscle weakness. Many people with diabetes already experience nerve-related problems like neuropathy. Add mercury to the mix, and those issues can worsen dramatically. Then there's the impact on kidneys. Diabetes itself is one of the leading causes of kidney disease. Your kidneys act like the filters of your body, and when they're already working overtime to manage blood sugar and flush toxins, adding mercury is like throwing a wrench into the machine. Over time, this can speed up kidney damage, leading to serious health problems like chronic kidney disease or even the need for dialysis. Cardiovascular health is another area of concern. Mercury can increase oxidative stress and inflammation, two major risk factors for heart attacks and strokes. For diabetics, who already face a higher risk of heart disease, mercury acts like a silent enemy, making every meal with contaminated fish a potential setback. Which fish are the worst offenders? Swordfish, king mackerel, shark, and tilefish are among the worst culprits for mercury contamination. These fish are at the top of the food chain, meaning they eat smaller fish that also have mercury, and the levels build up over time. It's called bioaccumulation, and it's why larger predatory fish tend to have the highest mercury content. Even some types of tuna, like big eye or albacore, carry higher levels of mercury. That's why I always recommend choosing smaller fish, like sardines, anchovies, or wild-caught salmon, that are lower on the food chain. These fish live shorter lives and have less time to accumulate mercury. Real-life impact. I'll never forget a story from one of my old patients, Martha, a 65-year-old retired teacher from Georgia. She loved seafood and believed she was eating clean by having swordfish and tuna steaks several times a week. When she came to me, she was dealing with constant fatigue and a sharp decline in her memory. Her blood work revealed high mercury levels. We made simple swaps: wild-caught salmon instead of swordfish, light-canned tuna, low in mercury, instead of albacore, and within 3 months, her energy improved and her mental clarity came back. How to reduce mercury exposure. Choose low-mercury fish. Salmon, trout, sardines, and cod are great alternatives. Limit high-mercury fish. Avoid or drastically limit swordfish, king mackerel, shark, and tilefish. Vary your seafood choices. Don't stick to the same fish every week. Rotate between different low-mercury species. Check advisories. The FDA and EPA often release guidelines about mercury levels in seafood. Stay updated. Practical tips for diabetics. If you're dealing with diabetes, controlling inflammation and avoiding toxins like mercury can have a huge impact on your blood sugar. Mercury can worsen insulin resistance, making it harder for your body to use insulin effectively. Think of it like adding an obstacle in the path your body uses to regulate blood sugar. Clearing that obstacle can make everything smoother. Another tip: cooking methods matter. Baking, grilling, or steaming low-mercury fish with healthy seasonings like lemon, garlic, and olive oil can give you the best of both worlds: delicious flavor and health benefits. The takeaway: mercury might be invisible and tasteless, but it's a very real threat, especially for older adults and diabetics. Every bite you take is either healing your body or harming it. The good news is, by being selective about the types of fish you eat, you can still enjoy all the amazing benefits of seafood without putting yourself at risk. In the next section, we'll dive into another hidden problem: how the fat content in certain fish can cause unexpected blood sugar spikes. Even if mercury isn't an issue, the wrong kind of fat can be just as harmful for diabetics. When people think about foods that spike blood sugar, they often think of sweets, cakes, cookies, or sodas. But here's the surprising truth. Fats, especially the wrong kinds, can make managing blood sugar just as challenging. This is particularly important when we talk about fish like swordfish, king mackerel, or even oil-packed canned tuna. While these fish may look healthy on the surface, their fat composition can silently work against your diabetes management plan. Let me explain this in simple terms. Think of your body's cells as little houses and insulin as the key that opens the front door to let sugar inside. When you eat too much saturated fat or unhealthy trans fats, that keyhole gets jammed. Insulin can't open the door properly, and the sugar stays outside in the blood. This leads to what we call insulin resistance, which can cause dangerous spikes in blood sugar levels. The hidden fat trap in fish. Not all fish are equal when it comes to fat. Some, like salmon or sardines, have the good kinds of fat omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation and improve heart health. But fish like swordfish and king mackerel are much higher in saturated fat. Eating these regularly is like pouring oil into a machine that wasn't designed to handle it. It gums up the system and causes it to run inefficiently. I remember my patient, George, a 61-year-old retired police officer from Ohio. George loved his rich, oily mackerel fillets, thinking they were giving him heart-friendly omega-3s. But he didn't realize that these meals were packed with extra calories and saturated fats. Over time, his weight crept up, and his blood sugar readings became unpredictable. When we switched him to lighter, leaner fish like cod or trout, and used healthier cooking methods, his blood sugar stabilized within weeks. Why fat matters for diabetics. When your body has too much unhealthy fat, it also affects inflammation, one of the silent killers for diabetics. Inflammation makes your cells less sensitive to insulin, worsens nerve pain, and increases the risk of heart disease. For someone living with diabetes, this is like trying to drive with the parking brake on. You can still move forward, but everything is slower and harder. The cooking method also matters. Frying fish in heavy oils or butter turns a healthy protein into a fat bomb. A single fried fish fillet can add hundreds of unnecessary calories and unhealthy fats, which not only spike blood sugar but also make weight management harder. Better fish choices. Wild-caught salmon, rich in omega-3s and low in saturated fat. Rainbow trout, a lean, mild fish that supports heart health. Halibut, a low-fat, firm fish that can be grilled or baked easily. Sardines, packed with omega-3s and very low in contaminants. Try seasoning these fish with lemon juice, fresh herbs, or a sprinkle of black pepper. Baking or grilling them brings out the flavor without adding extra fat. Fat myths you should ignore. Some people believe that all fat is bad, but that's simply not true. Your body needs healthy fats for brain function and energy. The key is to choose fats that work for your body, not against it. Omega-3 fats found in salmon, tuna light, and sardines can actually improve insulin sensitivity, making it easier for your body to use sugar for energy. The trick is to avoid fish that combine high unhealthy fats with other risks like mercury or sodium. Real-life transformation. Let me tell you about Janet, a 63-year-old grandmother from Kansas. She loved fried catfish dinners every Friday night. After learning about how unhealthy fats were affecting her diabetes, she switched to grilled salmon with a side of roasted vegetables. Within 3 months, she lost 12 pounds, and her A1C levels dropped significantly. Janet told me, "I never knew a simple change like avoiding fried fish could make me feel so much younger." The bottom line, if you're dealing with diabetes, you must pay attention to the type of fat in your fish and how it's prepared. A plate of fried, oily fish might seem harmless today, but over time it can push your blood sugar higher and add stress to your heart and kidneys. Instead, focus on lean, low-mercury, omega-3 rich fish, and cook them in ways that bring out their natural goodness without drowning them in unhealthy oils. In the next section, we'll take a closer look at safer fish you can choose instead of the risky ones like swordfish and mackerel. These alternatives are not only delicious, but also a smart way to enjoy seafood without compromising your health. Now that we've talked about the hidden risks in certain fish, It's time to focus on the positive. The safe, delicious, and diabetes-friendly fish you can enjoy without worry. These alternatives aren't just safer. They're often tastier, easier to cook, and packed with nutrients that actively support your health. When you choose wisely, seafood can be a powerhouse for maintaining stable blood sugar, improving heart health, and boosting overall energy levels. Why safe fish choices matter. Let's face it, not all fish are created equal. Some carry heavy metals, some have unhealthy fats, and others are farmed in questionable environments. But low mercury, lean, and omega-3 rich fish can be some of the best foods you can eat. Omega-3 fatty acids are known to fight inflammation, improve brain function, and enhance insulin sensitivity. For diabetics, this means your body can manage sugar more efficiently. Take wild-caught salmon, for example. This is one of my top recommendations for anyone over 50, diabetic or not. It's high in omega-3s, packed with protein, and very low in contaminants. Best of all, it's versatile. You can bake it, grill it, poach it, or even use it in salads. A simple preparation, like salmon with lemon, garlic, and fresh dill, can transform dinner into a gourmet experience without all the health risks. Top safe fish options. Salmon, wild-caught, excellent for heart health and stable blood sugar. Rainbow trout, a lean, mild fish with a clean flavor and healthy fats. Sardines, affordable, full of omega-3s, and naturally low in mercury. Tilapia, wild or responsibly farmed if sourced carefully, tilapia can be fine. Opt for trusted brands with clean farming practices. Halibut, a firm white fish that works well grilled or baked. Arctic char, a cousin of salmon with a mild, buttery flavor and healthy fats. Cooking methods that keep fish healthy. Even the healthiest fish can lose its benefits if you prepare it the wrong way. Frying adds unhealthy fats and calories, while heavy breading introduces refined carbs that spike blood sugar. Instead, try these methods. Grilling adds a smoky flavor without extra fat. Baking, easy and preserves nutrients. Poaching keeps the fish moist and light. Steaming retains omega-3s and vitamins. For flavor, stick to natural seasonings like herbs, garlic, ginger, lemon, or a drizzle of olive oil. These ingredients enhance taste without raising blood sugar. A real-life example. I'll never forget Michael, a 59-year-old truck driver from Texas. He used to rely on fried catfish and fast food fish sandwiches during his trips. When we switched his diet to include grilled salmon and sardines, not only did his energy levels skyrocket, but his cholesterol dropped 20 points in just 2 months. He told me, "I didn't think I'd like sardines, but now I keep them in my truck as a snack." Cost-friendly tips. You might be thinking wild-caught salmon is expensive. True, but here's the secret. You don't need to eat large portions every day. A small 4-ounce piece of salmon paired with vegetables can make a satisfying, nutrient-packed meal. Canned sardines and mackerel, the low-mercury kind, are also affordable, long-lasting, and easy to store. Another great tip is to buy frozen wild-caught fish. Frozen options are just as nutritious as fresh ones, and they often cost less. Look for packages labeled wild-caught or sustainably sourced. Why these choices are better for diabetics. Low mercury, omega-3 rich fish help reduce inflammation, a major factor in diabetes complications. They also improve heart health, which is crucial because diabetics have a higher risk of heart disease. By choosing these safer fish, you're not only avoiding harmful toxins but also actively supporting your body's natural defenses. Bottom line, you don't have to give up seafood if you have diabetes. In fact, with the right choices, fish can become a cornerstone of your healthy diet. The key is to swap the risky options for better ones. Wild salmon instead of swordfish, trout instead of king mackerel, sardines instead of canned tuna in oil. These swaps are small, but the benefits are enormous. In the next section, we'll discuss mackerel, a fish that often gets praised for its omega-3 benefits but has hidden risks for diabetics. You'll learn when mackerel can be safe and when it might do more harm than good. Mackerel is one of those fish that has a bit of a health halo around it. People often praise it for its high omega-3 content, which is known to protect the heart, reduce inflammation, and improve brain function. At first glance, mackerel seems like an ideal choice for someone with diabetes. After all, omega-3 fatty acids are considered good fats that help balance blood sugar and promote overall wellness. But here's where the story takes a twist. Not all mackerel is created equal. Some types of mackerel, particularly king mackerel, are known to have extremely high levels of mercury, making them potentially harmful, especially for people with diabetes or anyone over 50. Let's dive deeper into why this fish can be both a friend and a foe. The good side of mackerel. Mackerel is a fatty fish, and that's not always a bad thing. The healthy fats found in mackerel can actually improve the body's response to insulin, which is key for diabetics. It's also packed with protein, B vitamins, and selenium nutrients that keep the immune system strong and energy levels high. When you buy Atlantic mackerel, also known as Boston mackerel, you're getting a fish that is low in mercury and high in beneficial nutrients. This type of mackerel can be a smart addition to your diet, especially if grilled, baked, or lightly pan-seared with olive oil and herbs. The silent danger, mercury and toxins. The danger comes when people eat king mackerel or Spanish mackerel, which are much higher on the food chain and tend to accumulate large amounts of mercury and other toxins. Mercury attacks your nervous system and can cause brain fog, fatigue, and nerve problems. Issues that diabetics are already more prone to due to complications like neuropathy. Mackerel also tends to come from waters that may be contaminated with industrial or agricultural pollutants. These pollutants can further stress your liver and kidneys, which are already vulnerable when you're managing diabetes. Over time, these toxins build up in your body and can make it harder to keep blood sugar stable and your cardiovascular system healthy. Too much fat can backfire. Even though mackerel contains healthy fats, it's a very oily fish. Eating too much of it can lead to excess calories, making weight management difficult. Weight control is one of the most important factors for managing diabetes, and excess fat can worsen insulin resistance. It's a classic example of too much of a good thing. I remember working with David, a 60-year-old retiree from Michigan, who started eating smoked mackerel almost every day because he'd heard it was heart healthy. Within 3 months, his weight went up, and his fasting glucose levels started creeping higher. After switching to leaner fish like cod and incorporating smaller portions of Atlantic mackerel just once a week, his blood sugar readings improved, and he lost the extra pounds. How to enjoy mackerel safely. Choose Atlantic mackerel over king or Spanish mackerel. Eat it in moderation. Once or twice a week is enough. Avoid smoked or heavily salted versions, as they're high in sodium, which can raise blood pressure. Pair it with fiber-rich vegetables like spinach or roasted zucchini to balance the meal and help stabilize blood sugar. A smart cooking tip. If you enjoy bold flavors, try grilling mackerel with a touch of lemon juice and fresh rosemary. This method reduces the oily aftertaste and keeps it light. Avoid deep frying or using heavy sauces, as these add unnecessary calories and unhealthy fats. Key takeaway. Mackerel is a double-edged sword. The right type, Atlantic mackerel, can be beneficial for diabetics, but the wrong type, king mackerel, can introduce toxic levels of mercury and excessive fats into your diet. Think of mackerel as a special guest at your dinner table. Invite it occasionally, but don't let it move in permanently. In the next section, we'll uncover the hidden problems in canned tuna, a pantry staple that many people rely on but rarely think about in terms of fat, sodium, and diabetes risks. When you pick up a piece of fish at the grocery store, you might think it's a clean, healthy source of protein straight from nature. Unfortunately, the truth is more complicated. Many fish today come from waters contaminated with industrial waste, agricultural runoff, or chemical pollutants. This issue is especially concerning for people with diabetes because these toxins can directly impact blood sugar control, heart health, and overall well-being. How do fish become contaminated? Fish absorb pollutants from the water they live in. Large predatory fish like swordfish, king mackerel, and even some types of tuna are especially at risk because they eat smaller fish that have already absorbed toxins. Over time, these contaminants build up in their bodies in a process called bioaccumulation. Some of the most common pollutants found in fish include mercury, a heavy metal that affects the nervous system and kidneys, PCBs, polychlorinated biphenyls, industrial chemicals linked to cancer and hormonal imbalances, dioxins, toxic compounds that can cause liver damage and increase cancer risk. For diabetics, these toxins can worsen inflammation and make it harder for insulin to work properly. This is why choosing the right source of fish is just as important as choosing the right type of fish. Why diabetics should be extra careful. When your body is already under the stress of managing blood sugar, adding environmental toxins is like throwing fuel on a fire. Pollutants like mercury and PCBs can damage the liver and kidneys, organs that diabetics need to keep in good shape for filtering toxins and balancing blood sugar levels. Let me share a story about Emily, a 65-year-old retired nurse from California. She used to buy cheap imported fish because it was budget-friendly. Over time, she began to experience unusual fatigue, headaches, and skin issues. After some testing, her doctor found elevated levels of heavy metals in her blood. Emily switched to US-sourced wild salmon and smaller fish like sardines. Within months, her energy returned, and her blood pressure dropped. High-risk waters and farmed fish. Fish raised in polluted environments, especially some fish farms, can carry chemicals, antibiotics, and even microplastics. Tilapia and catfish are often farmed in countries with poor regulations, meaning they can be exposed to chemicals that end up in your meal. These toxins not only harm your health but also add extra stress on your pancreas and insulin response. How to choose safer fish. Look for wild-caught labels, especially from US, Canada, or Norway, where regulations are stricter. Avoid fish from unknown or heavily industrialized waters, especially imported farmed fish. Check seafood advisories from the FDA or EPA. They often list which fish are safest to eat based on current contamination levels. Opt for smaller fish like sardines, anchovies, or herring. These fish live shorter lives, meaning less time to accumulate toxins. Cooking can't remove toxins. A common misconception is that cooking can kill the bad stuff in fish. While heat can kill bacteria, it doesn't remove heavy metals or chemical pollutants. Once mercury or PCBs are in the fish's tissues, they stay there. This is why prevention, choosing clean fish from safe sources, is so critical. A smart shopping tip. When buying canned fish, check the labels carefully. Look for phrases like Poland line caught or wild caught in Alaska. These terms indicate better fishing practices and cleaner waters. Avoid cans labeled packed in oil, which often add unnecessary fats and can spike blood sugar when combined with carbs. The bottom line, polluted waters have made fish selection more complicated than it used to be. But don't let that discourage you from enjoying seafood. By choosing smaller, wild-caught fish from trusted sources, you can avoid the toxic traps and enjoy all the health benefits of fish. In the next section, we'll focus on a fish you probably have in your pantry right now, canned tuna. It's convenient and affordable, but if you're not careful about the type and packaging, it could be quietly hurting your health. Canned tuna is one of America's favorite pantry staples. It's affordable, lasts for months, and makes a quick lunch when paired with a little mayo or tossed on a salad. But here's what many people don't realize. Not all canned tuna is safe or healthy, especially for those managing diabetes. At first glance, canned tuna seems like a great choice. High in protein, low in carbs, and easy to prepare. But when we look closer at the labels, there are a few hidden dangers: mercury levels, added oils, and excessive sodium that can make this convenient option harmful if not chosen wisely. The mercury problem. Not all tuna is equal when it comes to mercury. Albacore tuna, often labeled white tuna, tends to have 3 times more mercury than light tuna, usually skipjack. High mercury exposure, as we've discussed in earlier sections, can harm the nervous system, kidneys, and cardiovascular health. For diabetics, this is an even bigger issue because mercury can trigger inflammation and worsen insulin resistance. If you're eating canned tuna multiple times a week without checking the type, you could be unintentionally raising your mercury levels to unsafe amounts. Rule of thumb: stick to light tuna and limit it to 2 to 3 servings per week. Packed in oil versus packed in water. This is one of the biggest traps on store shelves. Many canned tuna products are packed in oil, which adds unnecessary fat and calories. For diabetics, this can lead to weight gain and unstable blood sugar levels. Oil-packed tuna may sound richer in flavor, but much of that oil is often low-quality, processed vegetable oil, definitely not the kind of fat you want in your diet. Choosing tuna packed in water is always better because it's leaner, lighter, and healthier. The sodium factor. Did you know that some canned tuna contains up to 300 to 400 milligrams of sodium per serving? That's nearly 20% of your daily recommended sodium intake, just from a small can. Excess sodium raises blood pressure, a common issue for diabetics, and puts additional stress on your heart and kidneys. I once worked with a patient named Brian, a 64-year-old accountant from Arizona. He loved tuna sandwiches and had them almost every day for lunch. But his blood pressure was climbing despite eating a healthy diet. After switching to low-sodium, water-packed light tuna, his blood pressure dropped significantly within 2 months, and his doctor even reduced his medication dosage. Additives and preservatives. Some tuna brands sneak in extra additives like broth or flavor enhancers, which can add hidden carbs and sodium. Always read the ingredient list. The best tuna cans have just 3 ingredients: tuna, water, and maybe a pinch of salt. Better tuna choices. Look for Poland line-caught or wild-caught labels. These indicate cleaner and more sustainable fishing practices. Choose brands with BPA-free cans, as BPA, a chemical lining in some cans, can disrupt hormones and increase inflammation. Go for no-salt added versions when possible. Healthy tuna recipes for diabetics. Instead of mixing tuna with heavy mayo and white bread, try these diabetic-friendly ideas. Mix tuna with Greek yogurt, chopped celery, and a squeeze of lemon. Serve tuna over a fresh salad with spinach, tomatoes, and avocado. Make a tuna wrap using a whole-grain tortilla and plenty of crunchy veggies. Key takeaway: canned tuna can still be part of a healthy diabetes meal plan if you choose the right type. Go for light tuna, water-packed, and low-sodium varieties. Avoid albacore or oil-packed versions unless eaten sparingly. In the next section, we'll discuss another popular fish that's often seen as a healthy option but comes with its own set of problems: tilapia. You'll learn why its omega-6 imbalance and farming practices can make it a less-than-ideal choice for diabetics. If you have diabetes, you've probably heard a lot about controlling sugar. But here's something many people overlook. Sodium can be just as dangerous, especially for your heart and kidneys. And when it comes to fish, especially canned or processed varieties, sodium can sneak into your diet without you even realizing it. Why sodium is a silent threat. For people managing diabetes, high sodium intake can raise blood pressure, which in turn increases the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and kidney damage. These risks are already higher for diabetics, so adding excess salt to the mix is like pouring fuel on a fire. Sodium doesn't directly raise blood sugar, but it worsens the complications associated with diabetes. High blood pressure combined with high blood sugar is a dangerous combo. It accelerates damage to blood vessels, the heart, and even your eyes. How fish becomes a sodium trap. Fish itself is naturally low in sodium, but how it's processed or prepared makes a huge difference. Canned fish, tuna, sardines, salmon. Some brands add 200 to 400 milligrams of sodium per serving, even before you add any seasoning. Smoked or cured fish, like smoked mackerel or lox, these are often soaked in brine or salt, which can add up to 800 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium per serving. Frozen breaded fish fillets. These are loaded with sodium from the breading and preservatives. The mayo and sauce problem. Even if you choose low-sodium fish, what you mix it with can spike sodium levels. A typical tablespoon of mayonnaise can add 90 to 100 milligrams of sodium. Sauces like soy sauce or teriyaki, they're sodium bombs. Just 1 tablespoon of regular soy sauce has nearly 900 milligrams of sodium. For diabetics, these hidden sources of salt can quickly add up. I had a patient, Linda, a 62-year-old teacher from Texas, who loved making tuna salad sandwiches. Her daily lunch included tuna packed in oil with added salt, mayonnaise, and a slice of cheese. When we calculated her sodium intake, she was eating over 2,500 milligrams of sodium just at lunchtime. After switching to low-sodium water-packed tuna and Greek yogurt instead of mayo, she cut her sodium intake in half and saw her blood pressure improve in weeks. How to cut sodium without losing flavor. Read labels carefully. Look for no salt added or low sodium on canned fish. Rinse canned fish. A quick rinse underwater can reduce sodium content by up to 30%. Use herbs and spices. Lemon juice, garlic, dill, paprika, and pepper can give your fish amazing flavor without the salt. Avoid soy-based marinades. Use alternatives like coconut aminos or a simple olive oil and lemon dressing. Watch out for pre-seasoned or frozen fish. These are often pre-salted to extend shelf life. Healthier fish options. Fresh or frozen wild salmon, cod, or trout are naturally low in sodium. Canned salmon or sardines labeled no salt added are great pantry staples. Grilled or baked fish with fresh herbs and olive oil is a simple, low-sodium way to enjoy seafood. A simple, low-sodium recipe. Here's a quick, diabetic-friendly recipe. Take a 4-ounce salmon fillet. Rub it with olive oil, black pepper, garlic powder, and a squeeze of lemon juice. Bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes. Serve with steamed broccoli and quinoa for a balanced, low-sodium, high-nutrient meal. The bottom line: sodium is one of those invisible ingredients that can sabotage your health, especially if you're managing diabetes. The good news is, with a few smart swaps, like choosing water-packed tuna, avoiding smoked fish, and flavoring meals with herbs, you can cut your sodium intake dramatically without sacrificing taste. In the next section, we'll focus on tilapia, one of the most common fish on American tables. It's budget-friendly and mild in flavor, but its omega-6 imbalance and questionable farming practices make it a fish that diabetics should think twice about. Tilapia has become one of the most popular fish in the United States, and it's easy to see why. It's affordable, widely available, and has a mild, neutral taste that works in countless recipes. Many families enjoy tilapia for quick weeknight dinners because it cooks fast and pairs well with everything from rice to vegetables. But here's the catch: tilapia might not be the healthy fish choice many believe it is, especially for diabetics. The omega-6 versus omega-3 imbalance. To understand why tilapia isn't the best choice, we need to talk about omega-6 fatty acids. While omega-3s, found in salmon and sardines, help fight inflammation and stabilize blood sugar, omega-6 can have the opposite effect when consumed in high amounts. Unfortunately, tilapia has a much higher omega-6 content compared to omega-3. Think of omega-3 and omega-6 as two opposing forces in your body. One calms inflammation, and the other can ignite it when there's too much. For diabetics, inflammation is one of the main culprits behind insulin resistance and complications like heart disease or nerve damage. Eating a fish like tilapia that leans heavily toward omega-6 can actually fuel this inflammation rather than calm it. Farming practices make it worse. Most tilapia on the market is farmed, often in countries with lower quality regulations. Farmed tilapia are frequently fed corn, soy, and processed feeds, which raise their omega-6 levels even more. To prevent disease in these crowded environments, farmers often use antibiotics and chemicals. Over time, these residues can make their way into your body, adding to the toxic load diabetics already need to manage. I once had a patient, Carla, a 60-year-old woman from Florida, who ate tilapia nearly every night because she thought it was the lightest fish option. But she constantly battled inflammation, fatigue, and joint pain. Once she switched from tilapia to wild-caught salmon and trout, her inflammation markers dropped, and she felt a noticeable improvement in energy within weeks. The hidden risk for heart health. Tilapia's high omega-6 content doesn't just affect inflammation. It can also harm your cardiovascular system. People with diabetes are already at a higher risk of heart attacks and strokes. A diet that's too high in omega-6 can increase blood clotting and raise bad cholesterol, LDL, both of which add stress to the heart. Better alternatives to tilapia. If you enjoy tilapia's mild flavor, you can easily replace it with healthier fish, wild-caught cod or haddock. Lean, mild, and perfect for baking or broiling. Flounder or sole. Light, delicate fish with low fat content and better nutrient balance. Wild-caught trout. More omega-3s and a richer taste without being overpowering. These fish offer all the versatility of tilapia but without the problematic omega-6 levels or farming concerns. Cooking tips for mild fish. When switching from tilapia, you can use the same quick recipes. Baked cod with lemon and garlic. Pan-seared flounder with a sprinkle of paprika and parsley. Broiled trout with olive oil and fresh dill. These dishes take less than 20 minutes to prepare and provide the same convenience as tilapia, but with much greater health benefits. When tilapia can be okay. If tilapia is the only option, look for responsibly farmed tilapia from the US or countries with higher standards, such as Canada or Ecuador. These tend to have better feed and fewer chemicals. Pairing tilapia with anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, turmeric, or garlic can help balance some of its effects. The takeaway: tilapia may look harmless, but for people managing diabetes, its high omega-6 content and farming-related risks make it a less than ideal choice. With so many better, equally affordable alternatives, there's no reason to rely on tilapia as a staple. In the next section, we'll explore a broader issue that affects not just tilapia but many farmed fish, chemical residues, and antibiotics that can sneak into your meals. Understanding this risk will help you make cleaner, safer choices when buying fish. When you think of fish, you probably imagine them swimming freely in clean, open waters. Unfortunately, that's not the reality for much of the fish we see on supermarket shelves today. Farmed fish, especially types like tilapia and catfish, are often raised in crowded tanks or artificial ponds, where the conditions are far from natural. To keep the fish alive and growing fast, farmers frequently use antibiotics, growth enhancers, and chemical treatments that can end up in the fish you eat. For people managing diabetes, this is a serious concern. Why farmed fish can be risky. Fish farming, aquaculture, was designed to meet the growing demand for seafood. While it can be done responsibly, many fish farms, especially in countries with loose regulations, rely on practices that compromise fish quality and safety. These include overuse of antibiotics to control disease in cramped conditions, chemical treatments to fight parasites and bacteria, low-quality feeds made from soy, corn, or animal byproducts, which alter the fish's natural nutrient profile and increase unhealthy omega-6 levels. For diabetics, eating fish with chemical residues is like adding invisible toxins into the body. These substances can trigger inflammation, disrupt hormones, and strain the liver and kidneys, organs already under pressure when you have diabetes. The hidden impact of antibiotics. One of the biggest problems with farmed fish is antibiotic overuse. These antibiotics can remain in the fish's tissue and enter your body when you eat it. Over time, this can contribute to antibiotic resistance, which makes it harder for your body to fight off infections. Additionally, antibiotics can disturb the healthy gut bacteria that play a key role in blood sugar regulation and immunity. I once met Raymond, a 67-year-old from Louisiana, who thought he was eating healthy by having tilapia and farmed shrimp several times a week, but he often felt bloated and fatigued after meals. When we switched him to wild-caught fish like salmon and cod, the difference was dramatic. His digestion improved, his energy returned, and his blood sugar levels became easier to manage. Farmed fish versus wild-caught. Wild fish eat a natural diet, which gives them higher levels of omega-3s and fewer contaminants. In contrast, farmed fish often have less omega-3 and more omega-6, the pro-inflammatory fat we discussed in Section 10. For diabetics, this imbalance is a problem because omega-6 fats can worsen insulin resistance and trigger inflammation. Safer farmed fish options. Not all farmed fish are bad. Some US or Canadian farms follow strict guidelines to minimize chemical use and provide high-quality feed. Look for certifications like ASC, Aquaculture Stewardship Council, BAP, Best Aquaculture Practices, MSC, Marine Stewardship Council. These labels indicate safer and more sustainable farming practices. How to shop smarter. Check the label. Look for wild-caught whenever possible. Ask questions at the counter. Find out where the fish was sourced and if it's from a trusted farm. Read frozen packaging carefully. Many frozen fillets come from countries with lower standards. Look for product of USA or reputable sources like Norway or Canada. Buy smaller fish. Fish like sardines, anchovies, or wild trout are less likely to be farmed and have lower contamination levels. cooking to reduce risk. While cooking doesn't remove chemical residues, you can minimize additional toxins by grilling, baking, or steaming fish instead of frying. Frying introduces harmful trans fats that add more stress to your body. Pair your fish with antioxidant-rich foods like leafy greens, garlic, or turmeric to help reduce inflammation. The bottom line: farmed fish may be cheaper and more convenient, but the hidden chemical residues and lower nutritional quality make them a poor choice for diabetics. Whenever possible, opt for wild-caught fish or farmed fish certified by trusted organizations. These choices protect your body from harmful toxins and give you all the health benefits that seafood can offer. In the next section, we'll talk about fried cod, a common dish in many American homes and restaurants. You'll learn how even a healthy fish like cod can turn into a dangerous meal when fried, and what you can do instead. Cod is one of the healthiest white fish you can eat when it's prepared the right way. It's naturally low in fat, high in protein, and mild in flavor, making it a perfect choice for anyone managing diabetes. But the moment you fry cod, everything changes. A once healthy option becomes a blood sugar time bomb filled with unhealthy fats, refined carbs, and hidden calories that can wreak havoc on your body. How frying changes cod. When cod is fried, it absorbs a large amount of oil, especially if it's breaded first. This process adds trans fats and saturated fats, which make it harder for your body to use insulin effectively. For diabetics, this means higher blood sugar levels after meals and an increased risk of insulin resistance over time. The breading on fried cod is another problem. Made from refined white flour, it's quickly broken down into sugar in your body, leading to sharp glucose spikes. A simple meal of fried cod with fries can cause your blood sugar to jump higher than you might expect, even if there's no dessert involved. The heart health issue. Fried foods are a direct enemy of heart health, and diabetics are already at a higher risk for heart attacks and strokes. The combination of trans fats, extra calories, and refined carbs in fried fish raises LDL, bad cholesterol, and lowers HDL, good cholesterol. Over time, this clogs arteries and strains your heart. Take Paul, a 66-year-old man from Boston who loved his Friday night fish and chips. He thought he was making a better choice by choosing fish over burgers. But after years of eating fried cod, his cholesterol was sky-high, and his blood sugar levels were out of control. When we replaced fried cod with baked cod seasoned with olive oil and herbs, his health turned around. Within 3 months, his cholesterol dropped significantly, and his energy returned. Better cooking alternatives. You don't have to give up cod. Just change how you cook it. Baked cod. Brush with olive oil, sprinkle with paprika, garlic powder, and fresh parsley, and bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes. Grilled cod. Marinate in lemon juice and a touch of olive oil, then grill for a smoky flavor without the oil. Steamed cod. A great option that retains all nutrients without adding calories. These methods preserve the natural benefits of cod, high-quality protein, low fat, and important minerals like selenium and phosphorus, while avoiding all the health risks of frying. Diabetic-friendly cod recipe. Here's a quick recipe I often recommend. Take a 4-ounce cod fillet. Drizzle with 1 teaspoon of olive oil. Add a pinch of salt, black pepper, garlic powder, and fresh dill. Bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. Serve it with a side of roasted vegetables and a half cup of quinoa for a perfectly balanced meal. Key takeaway. Fried cod might taste comforting, but it's a dangerous trap for diabetics. The frying process adds unhealthy fats and refined carbs that make blood sugar harder to manage and put your heart at risk. Baked, grilled, or steamed cod, on the other hand, is a lean, diabetes-friendly protein that can be enjoyed multiple times a week. In the next section, we'll talk about trans fats, what they are, why they're so harmful to diabetics, and how they hide in everyday meals, including fried fish. Understanding this will help you avoid the worst dietary culprits for your blood sugar and heart health. When we talk about unhealthy fats, trans fats are by far the worst offenders. These man-made fats are created by partially hydrogenating oils to make them more stable and extend shelf life. While this may sound like a clever trick for food manufacturing, it's a disaster for your health, especially if you're managing diabetes. Why trans fats are so dangerous? Trans fats are found in many fried and processed foods, including fried fish, breaded fish sticks, fast food meals, and even some packaged snacks. Unlike natural fats, which your body can use for energy, trans fats raise LDL, bad cholesterol, lower HDL, good cholesterol, and increase inflammation throughout the body. For diabetics, the impact is even worse. Trans fats make your cells more resistant to insulin, which means your blood sugar stays higher for longer after a meal. Over time, this can lead to more frequent glucose spikes, weight gain, and greater risk of heart disease. Think of trans fats as clogging up the locks on your body's doors. Insulin, the key, can't open the locks as effectively, leaving sugar trapped in your bloodstream. Where trans fats hide. While some foods are obvious sources of trans fats, like fast food fries or donuts, fish can become a source of trans fats when it's deep fried in hydrogenated oil. This means even healthy fish like cod or haddock can turn into a dangerous meal when fried in the wrong oil. Additionally, some prepackaged frozen fish products, like breaded fillets, may contain partially hydrogenated oils in the breading. Always read ingredient labels for phrases like partially hydrogenated vegetable oil or shortening. The heart and diabetes connection. Trans fats don't just affect blood sugar, they're also notorious for damaging the heart. For diabetics, this is especially alarming because heart disease is already the leading cause of death in people with diabetes. Even small amounts of trans fats can raise your risk of heart attacks and strokes. I recall a story of Mark, a 58-year-old mechanic from Chicago, who loved fried fish sandwiches from his favorite fast food chain. He thought he was doing better than eating burgers, but after a few years, he developed high cholesterol and his blood sugar became harder to control. After cutting out fried and processed fish and replacing them with grilled salmon and baked cod, his cholesterol improved and he lost 10 pounds in 90 days. How to avoid trans fats. Cook fish at home using healthy oils like olive oil or avocado oil. Avoid deep frying, bake, grill, or steam fish instead. Check labels on frozen fish products. Avoid anything listing hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils. Limit fast food fish options. Most chains still use oils that may contain trans fats. Healthy fat alternatives. Not all fats are bad. In fact, healthy fats like those from olive oil, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish, salmon, sardines, can improve insulin sensitivity and help your body use sugar more effectively. Try cooking your fish with a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil and fresh herbs. Pair it with sides like roasted vegetables or a quinoa salad for a balanced, diabetic-friendly meal. A simple swap example. Instead of grabbing a fried fish sandwich, prepare a grilled salmon burger at home. Mix salmon with a little lemon juice, garlic, and chopped parsley. Serve it on a whole grain bun with fresh spinach and avocado slices. This meal is not only free of trans fats, but also full of nutrients that stabilize blood sugar. The bottom line: trans fats are a hidden danger in many fish dishes, especially those fried or prepackaged. Cutting them out of your diet can dramatically improve blood sugar control, lower cholesterol, and reduce your risk of heart disease. The key is to focus on healthy fats that heal rather than harm your body. In the next section, we'll discuss better cooking methods for diabetics, so you can still enjoy delicious seafood without worrying about harmful fats or blood sugar spikes. The way you cook your fish can make the difference between a diabetes-friendly meal and one that disrupts your blood sugar and heart health. Even the healthiest fish can turn into a nutritional disaster if it's prepared with the wrong methods, like frying, heavy breading, or drowning in high-sodium sauces. But with a few smart cooking techniques, you can enjoy delicious, satisfying fish dishes that help keep your blood sugar stable and support overall wellness. Why cooking methods matter. Cooking isn't just about flavor. It directly affects the nutritional value of your food. For example, frying adds harmful trans fats and refined carbs from breading. Deep frying can double or triple the calories, leading to weight gain and insulin resistance. High-sodium marinades or sauces increase blood pressure and stress the kidneys, which is dangerous for diabetics. On the other hand, gentle cooking methods like baking, grilling, steaming, or poaching preserve nutrients and keep meals low in unhealthy fats and sodium. These methods also bring out the natural flavors of fish, so you don't need to rely on heavy sauces or coatings. The best cooking methods for diabetics. Baking. Place your fish on parchment paper or a lightly oiled baking dish. Season with herbs, garlic, paprika, or lemon juice. Bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 20 minutes until the fish flakes easily. Example: baked salmon with olive oil, black pepper, and fresh dill. Grilling. Grilling gives fish a smoky flavor without adding extra fat. Brush lightly with olive oil to prevent sticking, and use fresh herbs or spices. Great for firm fish like salmon, tuna, or halibut. Steaming. Steaming preserves all the natural nutrients and omega-3s. Add slices of lemon, ginger, or fresh basil for extra aroma. Ideal for delicate fish like cod, sole, or trout. Poaching. Simmer fish gently in a broth made from water, lemon slices, and herbs. Poaching keeps the fish moist without adding any extra fats. Healthy flavor boosters. Many people think they need butter or creamy sauces to make fish taste good, but that's not true. Instead, try fresh herbs like rosemary, thyme, dill, or parsley. Citrus flavors, lemon, lime, or orange zest. Garlic and ginger for natural anti-inflammatory benefits. A drizzle of extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil. Portion control and pairings. Even with the best cooking methods, portion sizes matter for blood sugar stability. A 4 to 6 ounce serving of fish is enough for one meal. Pair it with fiber-rich sides like roasted vegetables, quinoa, or a fresh salad. Fiber helps slow down digestion, preventing blood sugar spikes. Smart meal prep tips. Batch cooking. Bake several pieces of fish at once and store them for the week. Freeze portions. Wild-caught fish freezes well and maintains quality if sealed properly. Mix flavors. Use different herb and spice blends to keep meals interesting. A real-life example. I once worked with Nancy, a 63-year-old from Minnesota, who struggled with blood sugar swings despite eating fish twice a week. When we reviewed her meals, we discovered she was frying all her fish in butter. Once she switched to baking and grilling with olive oil and lemon, her glucose readings improved dramatically, and she even lost 5 pounds in 2 months. Key takeaway. How you cook your fish is just as important as which fish you choose. Avoid frying and high-sodium sauces, and focus on gentle cooking techniques like baking, grilling, steaming, or poaching. These methods not only preserve the fish's natural nutrients but also keep your meals heart-friendly and diabetic-safe. In the next and final section, we'll discuss the top fish choices for a safe diabetes diet. You'll learn which types of fish you can enjoy regularly and how to create a balanced seafood routine that supports your long-term health. Now that we've explored the fish you should avoid, it's time to focus on the positive side, the fish you can enjoy freely while managing diabetes. These safe options are not only delicious and versatile, but also packed with the nutrients your body needs to control blood sugar, fight inflammation, and maintain a healthy heart. What makes a fish safe for diabetics? A diabetes-friendly fish is low in mercury to avoid toxic buildup in the body, rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which reduce inflammation and improve insulin sensitivity, low in unhealthy fats like trans fats or saturated fats, high in protein, helping you stay full longer and prevent blood sugar spikes. These qualities make fish one of the best sources of lean protein, provided you choose the right kinds and prepare them with healthy cooking methods. The top 5 fish for diabetics. Wild-caught salmon. Known for its high omega-3 content, which lowers inflammation and improves heart health. Versatile and easy to prepare, bake, grill, or poach for a quick meal. Rich in vitamin D and B vitamins, which support energy and immune function. Sardines. These small fish are nutrient powerhouses, loaded with omega-3s and calcium. Naturally low in mercury due to their short lifespan. Great in salads, whole grain crackers, or mixed with a bit of olive oil and herbs. Rainbow trout. Another omega-3 rich fish, often farmed responsibly in the US under strict regulations. Mild flavor, making it a perfect substitute for tilapia. Halibut. A firm white fish that's low in fat and calories but high in lean protein. Excellent for baking or grilling with herbs and lemon. Herring or anchovies. packed with omega-3s and other minerals like selenium and vitamin D. Perfect for salads, whole grain pizzas, or light pasta dishes. How often should you eat fish? Experts recommend 2 to 3 servings of low-mercury fish per week for adults. For diabetics, including these safe fish in your weekly meal plan can improve blood sugar control, boost energy, and lower cardiovascular risks. Meal ideas using safe fish. Grilled salmon with garlic and asparagus. A heart-healthy, low-carb meal. Baked trout with lemon and dill pairs well with steamed broccoli and quinoa. Sardine salad wrap. Mix sardines with Greek yogurt, celery, and a whole grain tortilla. Halibut with roasted vegetables. Drizzle with olive oil and season with black pepper. Tips for a balanced seafood diet. Rotate your fish choices to avoid eating the same type all the time. Pair fish with high-fiber foods like leafy greens, lentils, or whole grains to stabilize blood sugar. Use healthy fats wisely. A small drizzle of olive oil is enough for flavor and heart health. Avoid processed fish products like breaded fish sticks or frozen fried fillets. The big picture. Including safe, low-mercury fish in your diet isn't just about avoiding risks. It's about adding powerful nutrients that actively support your body. Omega-3 fatty acids improve the way your cells respond to insulin, while lean protein keeps you full, helping you avoid snacking on high-carb or sugary foods. A final word of advice. If you've been unsure about which fish are safe, use this simple rule of thumb. Small, wild, and oily is usually good, like sardines, anchovies, or salmon. Big, predatory, and farmed can often be risky, like swordfish, king mackerel, or poorly farmed tilapia. By making smarter choices, you can enjoy the flavor and health benefits of seafood while keeping your diabetes under control. Key takeaway: fish can be a cornerstone of a healthy diabetes diet when chosen carefully. Stick to wild-caught, low-mercury options like salmon, trout, and sardines, and prepare them with simple, clean cooking methods. Your body and your blood sugar will thank you. We've covered a lot in this video, and I hope you now see how choosing the right fish can make a world of difference for your health, especially if you're managing diabetes. We started by exploring the 5 dangerous fish to avoid, like swordfish, king mackerel, certain canned tunas, farmed tilapia, and fried cod. Each of these carries risks, from mercury contamination and unhealthy fats to high sodium levels and harmful cooking methods. For diabetics, these hidden dangers can lead to blood sugar spikes, inflammation, and increased risk of heart and kidney complications. But the good news is that there are plenty of safe, nutritious alternatives. Fish like wild-caught salmon, rainbow trout, sardines, and halibut are rich in omega-3 fatty acids that fight inflammation and support heart health. When paired with the right cooking methods, baking, grilling, steaming, or poaching, you can enjoy seafood that's not only safe but also delicious and satisfying. We also discussed how preparation is just as important as the fish you choose. Avoid frying and heavy breading, and use natural flavors like lemon, garlic, and fresh herbs to keep your meals both healthy and tasty. Managing diabetes isn't about giving up your favorite foods. It's about making smarter choices that protect your health and give you energy for the years ahead. With the right knowledge, every meal can become a step toward better control of your blood sugar, improved heart health, and a stronger, more active life. Your health is in your hands. Start today by choosing one safe fish recipe this week and give your body the care it deserves.